I was the least likely director on the planet to make a dance. I really did the dance. Include me out. I didn't think it could concern me. Well, a while ago. One actually in the mid-80s, which is before your time. And my girlfriend at the time, we spent, this was in Venice, Italy, and we were walking around, and she saw a poster with announcing a retrospective by a certain Pina bout, and she said, "That's where we go tonight." And I said, "No." Because from the poster I took it that it was an evening of dance. I chose it. And I figured it was going to be boring. And it was a night that changed my life. I literally was sitting on the edge of my seat after 5 minutes and found myself crying and weeping till the end of the speech, which was short, 40 minutes. And I don't think I would have survived any longer. I was devastated. I didn't know how this unknown woman could tell me so much about men and women and their relationship in 40 minutes without a single word. My brain could not see this. My eyes understood everything. And then there was an intermission, and then the second play started. It was The Life of Spring, and that completely disappeared. I don't know how I survived that night, but I knew I had to meet this woman in Pina. And we met. We became actually friends, good friends over the years. She became something like the older sister I never had. And we talked for a long time about the film together. Because I really loved her art, and I loved her work so much. It was the most beautiful thing on the planet, I think. And she knew something that I had not known before. Nobody in my profession had actually known. You see, film directors are sort of cocky. You must know something. Because they think they're experts in many things. And one thing they think they're an expert in is body language. We have actors in front of the camera. Sometimes they're famous. And what the acting is all about is the legendary presence of the actor in front of the camera, and that is nothing but his or her body language. So as we tell them sometimes what to do and how to move, we think we know something about that body language. And then as I got to know Pina and I saw how she worked and I understood how she worked and I watched her working, and I realized myself and my peers, we were just bloody illiterate in the language of the body. And Pina really was able to decipher and speak that language in its grammar and its vocabulary in an unbelievable way. And I wanted to put all that in a film. And Pina eventually was all for that. Even if it was my idea in the beginning, she had started to push me and said, "Wim, you've been talking about it for years, you should do it now." So, sure, I wanted to do it. So I sat down and tried to imagine it, because if you want to do a movie, you better know how you want to do it. Especially a documentary, you have to know how you want to do it. And I realized I did not know how to do it. I didn't know how to film this letter. I didn't know. And I realized something was good enough. Seriously, I figured it was not good enough to handle the beauty of Pina. And because you could never lie to Pina, she would see right through it. You had to tell the truth. Which is, I would love to do it immediately, and I would drop everything, but I just don't know how to. And she was patient, and she said, well, you have to think harder. I tried. I saw every dance film in the book, thinking maybe somebody found it brilliant, maybe I can learn it, but the more I saw about dance and film, the more I realized there was a general problem between dancing and cinema. And I couldn't put my finger on it. I just knew, each time I saw a new piece of Pina, I just knew there was this invisible wall between what they were doing on stage and what I could do with camera, or what I could bring to the stage. So it took 20 years. And I didn't really find a solution. And it showed itself one day all by itself. I can't even claim that I found it. It found me. I saw, 5 years ago, I saw my first 3D film. Maybe some of you have seen it. Unforgettable title, YouTube 3D. It was a precursor to the whole 3D thing, and a courageous film, and a consequence. And I loved the music, and I didn't think of anything, and it went for the fun. And there it was. From the first shot on, I sat there, and I almost didn't listen to the music anymore. I watched through the film. I just saw the possibilities. And I saw this was what Pina and I had been waiting for 20 years, and the answer was so simple. What we had been missing was access to space. Space was the dancers carried on down. It was their kingdom. With every step, every gesture, they conquered space. And space in movies was always fiction. Whatever you do with your camera, you can do whatever you want. You can throw it out of the building or put it on airplanes or helicopters or on fancy cranes. It always ends up on a two-dimensional screen, and space is empty. And that's why I thought we couldn't film that. But now we could, because we finally have the right tool for it. And at the end of that screening, I called Pina and I said, now we can do it. I think I know now. And we then actively started to prepare the film that you're going to see very soon. And I just start talking. I said, stop talking. I've already said too much. We prepared this film together for 2 years. We needed 2 years because Pina wanted a certain amount of her pieces in the film, and we established that in one season she could possibly stage 4, and we could not film more than 4. And in order to do that, she needed time because her company is very busy. So the earliest possible time she could put these 4 pieces on was the season of fall and winter 2009, 2010. So we had a start date, and it gave me a year and a half to get involved with 3D and the technology. And we needed that because the technology, as far as I'm concerned, was probably more wishful thinking on my behalf than the reality. And we needed a year and a half to be ready to shoot Pina's art appropriately. I wish I could show you the first thing we shot. I found a stereographer in Paris, who was the only man I found in Europe who had any experience with the medium, and who had actually worked in it for 15 years already, but only in experimental film. There was no feature, nothing. This was years before Avatar came out. Well, yeah, we shot most of the film before Avatar came out, Christmas 2009. We were happy because until then, people thought I was playing crazy. When I said I'm going to make a dance film in 3D, they all laughed. Yeah, oh yeah. And then once Avatar was out, we became perspective. No, I'm serious. I'm very grateful to the man making this masterpiece. But I want to tell you, and then I thought, the very first thing we shot in 3D, that was in early 2008, we broke out our cameras into the streets. This was in Paris, because this is what my story hopefully is. It was very exciting. For the very first time, we shot three-dimensionally, and it felt like the Pina brothers sitting in front of the factory. And we shot, and because eventually we were going to do shoot dance, and I asked my assistant to dance. He couldn't dance, so he just ran around and made big circles. Stupid things. And then we went back inside and rendered and all this stuff, and a few hours later we saw it on the screen. And it was unbelievable. It was the space and the depth was there, okay, but this new technology could not handle movement. My poor assistant looked like a four-armed Indian goddess. He had many legs. And we couldn't possibly shoot Pina's artwork. It was out of the question. So luckily we had it in hand. And then when we were finally able to show Pina in the summer of 2009, we were going to do one last intrusive test and finally show her. She never saw anything in 3D. She just believed my juvenile enthusiasm. And we were finally able to show her the trucks got loaded, everything was ready. We were going to shoot for about a week with her dancers. This one last week preparation test. That's when one day we got the call that she died the night before. And that was the end of the film as far as I'm concerned. As far as I was concerned. I walked away from it. It was just too sad. And somewhat tragic that we spent 20 years talking about it, and now that we were ready, she didn't live to see. So I walked away from it, and you wouldn't see a film tonight if it hadn't been for the dancers, because they did not walk away. They performed the night that Pina died in tears, but they performed because they knew she would have wanted that. And because they then continued the company on their own, they also started to rehearse the pieces that Pina had put on the schedule. And that's when it slowly dawned on me that walking away was not the right decision. And that Pina really would have wanted us to film these four pieces. And the more I talked with the dancers, the more I realized they needed some way to come to terms with the loss in their lives. Some of them had never worked with anybody else. They had worked for 30 years with Pina. Pina was the center of their life. And I realized a film could be more important for the living than even as an homage to Pina. So we decided that as we couldn't make the film with Pina, we were going to do one for Pina. And that's the film I'm going to show you tonight. And don't be scared, it's not a sad film, because Pina, yeah, this is a good occasion. Those who still have their mobile phones on, maybe do something. Pina was not a sad person. She laughed a lot. Rehearsals with her were constant laughter. So we realized if we were going to do this homage and this journey into her universe, it could not possibly be sad. So there's nothing to be afraid of now. I hope you enjoy the next 100 minutes.